Hello everyone and welcome to another Top 5 Records video. Today I'm going to be talking about the 5 best albums from 1982. A very interesting year because you see the 80s as a decade get more shape. I'll immediately kick off the list with a beautiful, gorgeous album by Prince, 1999. Now, Prince started to become, or actually in the late 70s he was already becoming, a pop phenomenon. And this album, 1999, is a genuine masterpiece. It is so danceable, but it's also so skillful. This man knows his way with several instruments. He knows his way around writing, and I think the late 70s and the 80s were the time in which Prince core as an artist is most noticeable. There is something so exciting here. There is something so fresh, so new. You hear different influences, but I find it hard to put a genre to this. Is it funk? Is it soul? Is it jazz? It has all of these influences. But in a certain manner, Prince becomes his own genre or starts to define a new genre in the 80s. Actually, this is pretty much one of the core elements of 80s pop music. But then again, it's 1982. I have more albums which belong to the core of 1980s pop music. Perhaps the next one is also one of those. Yeah, pop, yeah, it might even be pop. Donald Fagen, The Night Fly. I believe this is his first solo album after Steely Dan, which is also an amazing band. And I believe I haven't even put any Steely Dan albums in the 70s list, so I will put on a Steely Dan top 5 list in the future because it's it's an amazing band. This album is Donald Fagen solo. It's amazing, and it's also a very interesting album because this one was created completely digital, which was at the time pretty unique. This didn't happen a lot, and there were loads of disturbances with recording it. There were loads of problems coming from that element of wanting to do it digitally. Also very interesting. A friend of mine only wanted to buy vinyls, LPs, if the vinyl was analog. And he bought a super audio CD of this album. And he was completely convinced that, especially when it was digital, that CD was a superior medium, let alone super audio CD. So what do? We compared the two of them. This is the first US pressing. It's the Bob Ludwig pressing. You can find it in the Dead Wax American Bob Ludwig pressing. There are also other pressings of this album, first US's, which are not mastered by Bob Ludwig, but please, if you can find a Bob Ludwig pressing, do so. Because I'm kind of already saying what the outcome is. We compared it to the Audiophile Super Audio CD, and this one blew it away. Seriously, this one was better. The differences were not incredible, but this clearly was the winner. And I bought this one for €10, and the Super Audio CD cost about €50. So that's also one of the reasons. I mean, super audio CDs should sound incredible. A LP, much cheaper, can sound same quality or sometimes even better. You know, there's not a golden rule in these, but I choose vinyl every day of the week. Donald Fagen, Nightfly on a number 4 spot. On number 3, Joe Jackson, Night and Day. Damn, this is a good album. Also, if you're looking at what kind of pop are we getting, Joey Jackson is a very good and important name, and he made some amazing melodies. He also wrote some incredible lyrics. You can hear it on a song like Real Man. Real Man is today so relevant. These lyrics are searching for actually what's masculinity. A very interesting topic even now today. And it's not just the lyrics. I mean, Real Man has his, the way the piano rolls and the way his voice goes. It's so, there's a smoothness to it. It's melodically and lyrically brilliant. How often do you come across something like that? Now the last song of the album is not Real Man, Real Man is the one before last song. The last song is a slow song. A slow song. It's gorgeous. One of the best ballads of the 80s, in my opinion. Night and Day as an album is a masterpiece. It sounds full, it sounds warm. I even just have the Dutch first pressing, and this one already sounds pretty good and full. I still want to hear a first US though, but gorgeous. Now, we're getting to the number 2 spot. Perhaps a bit more obscure, but I'm not sure if it's really obscure because this man had several number 1 hits in the 80s. He might be the most important European performer in the 80s. Agree or disagree with me, but in my opinion he is. We're talking about Falco with his first album Einzelhaft. And Einzelhaft is not the one most people know. His most familiar album is Falco 3, Falco 3, in which he works with the Bolland brothers, Dutch brothers as a matter of fact. And this is an Austrian singer. He's actually the second most popular artist from Austria after Mozart. But this album does have a very important song with which he showed the world what he was capable of. Der Kommissar, alles klar, Herr Kommissar. In which we hear, I believe he's the first white guy rapping, but there's this electronical beat there. It's not hip-hop, it has rap, but it's pop music. It's German with English lyrics between them, and it's completely unique, it's completely bizarre, and you might just want to buy this one for the song containing Der Kommissar, but, and this is why I put this record on the number 2 spot, not only is this sound new, not only does it contain Der Kommissar, this album is from back to back spotless, brilliant. We started off with Zu viel Hitze, with a beautiful drum machine and a beautiful bass. Hits it off quite well, makes you ready for the next song, Der Kommissar. After that, 17 Jaar, which is a nice, cool, smooth ballad. Auf der Flucht was also a hit, which is a Falco banger. After that, Ganz Wien, Grab zocht zum Kokain, which was also one of his live, rare live tweets. Beautiful, and that was the first side already. Then you get to the next side, Maschine brennt, hinter uns die Sinnflut, nie mehr Schule, keine Schule mehr, Helden von heute, Helden von heute. I'm going to nominate that as the best Falco song ever. No, not Genie, not Rockin' Amadeus, which are both brilliant songs, but Helden von heute is this beautiful, epic anthem. It's so freaking gorgeous. And he ends it off with the song Einzelhaft. This album is a masterpiece. Find it, love it. I mean, I put this in a list with Night and Day by Joe Jackson, 1999 by Prince, and Nightfly by Donald Fagen, you know. I mean, we're talking about some of the finest 80s albums. Einzelhaft belongs between those. And number 1 spot. This month, we hear it in the news because we're celebrating its 40th anniversary, and what I'm holding right here is the number 1 spot, Thriller by Michael Jackson. Yeah. That's my dog. My dog is chewing on a, some toy. So that's noise in the background. Thriller. The first time I noticed anything of Thriller was the title track. I saw the video when I was 5 years old, the video clip directed by John Landis, and I had nightmares because it's a brilliant video clip. This album is, from beginning to end, hit material. Hit material. I mean, imagine, you start off an album with Wanna Be Starting Something, Baby Mine, which is okay, it's good, but Wanna Be Starting Something, I mean, bomb smasher. The Girl Is Mine with Paul McCartney, nice ballad. The album can walk from time to time towards somewhat of a kitsch, and even though I'm saying that, it gets away with that, you know. If I sense a small edge of kitsch somewhere, the album is so good that it gets beyond that and gets to the number 1 spot, becoming one of the best albums of the 80s, you know. After that, Thriller. And then in a row, Thriller, Beat It, Billie Jean, Human Nature. Ending off with Pretty Young Thing and The Lady in My Life. But any record that has Thriller, Beat It and Billie Jean, I mean, lo and behold, this is pop. I was talking about 1999 by Prince being one of the strong 80s albums, 80s defining albums. Donald Fagen's The Night Fly is one. Night and Day by Joe Jackson is one. Einzelhaft by Falco, Is It For Europe? This is a worldwide phenomenon. Now what I have here is a European pressing, which was pressed in the Netherlands on the Bernie Grundman vinyl, on Bernie Grundman mastering, which sounds pretty good, but there's lately a music on vinyl version. So in a next video I am going to compare the music on vinyl, Mobile Fidelity One Step, the Mobile Fidelity One Step to this one, the original Bernie Grundman pressing. But for now, on number one spot, best albums of 1982, Thriller by Michael Jackson. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below and see you in the next video.